Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for coming and sticking around after breakfast. It's nice to be back. We took a little break over the summer, but we're back on track. So we'll be having breakfast in Java with John once a month now. I had a couple of quick announcements. We have dinner with Doug on Friday. There's still some spots available. That's at 4:30. On Tuesday. Thank you, Paula. We bought a large shredder. When we do shredding, it's a huge event. So we thought maybe if folks wanted to kind of shred as you go, on Tuesday nights, we have a student that will kind of oversee the shredder. You'll come in and bring your own shredding and do your own shredding. So that'll be Tuesday nights. On Thursday, we've started a grief group. It's on Zoom. If you'd like to participate, just sign up at the front desk. And just a reminder, our famous jewelry sale is October 22nd and 23rd, so mark your calendars. That's run by our friends. They've been working all year. It looks fabulous. They're incredible support for the Senior Center. They fund most of our programs here, so please support them. And I'm going to call Detective Gower up. He's our liaison with the Acton Police Department. Thank you, Leo. He also helped serve breakfast today, so double thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Oh, two of them. Good morning, everyone. The only thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, lately we've had a group going around knocking on your door, asking if you want any paving done. They always tell you we got a little extra in our truck from the last job. They call them the travelers. You guys would probably know the old name. Everyone used to call them the gypsies. So they will travel around, go to different towns. They knock on your door. They have regular trucks. They have no markings on the doors. And they will give you a substantially discounted price, but they're just probably putting a couple inches over your old driveway. Might last a year, might last two. We were able to stop one job they were doing. They were using hand tools to dig out a broken part of the driveway. Obviously, if you're legit, you have a bobcat or something else to rip it up. And we stopped them. They said, yeah, we'll be back. Throw some dirt in it. You don't have to do it now. And obviously, they never came back. I know they did 3 driveways in town. Hopefully, they know that we were looking for them and they're done there now. So that's about it. Just always, if you think it might be a scam, call us. And usually if you think it's a scam, it is. Everyone knows. But everyone likes a deal too. So you just got to, think about it. And like I say, it's not a bother. Give us a call and we'll help you out. And that's it.
Thank you, Detective Gower. He's around the building a lot, so if there's something that you want to talk to him about, he's really friendly, so just stop him and he'd be willing to help you out. We're really excited to have Town Manager John Mangiarotti with us today. I'm going to hand it over for the program you've been waiting for, Java with John.
Thank you, Sharon. Nice to see you all. Thanks for coming to the Java with John program. Thank you, Detective Gower, for that timely update on things going around in town. Just a few programming notes. Thanks to ActonTV and Mark Ducey. We're being broadcast live on ActonTV channels, and this will also be recorded. And so, if you're not comfortable being on camera, don't look that way, and we can sort through the rest of it. But this is a program that we've been having here at the Senior Center for maybe 5 or 6, 7. A long time, and for a while we did it online only because people didn't want to come into buildings for a year or so, and it's really been a great way for me to connect with people in the community. Let me start over. I'm the town manager. I've been here for 8 years. I usually like to talk a little bit about myself because has anybody not been here before? I did meet someone earlier, so a few new people. So thank you for being here. I'll give a little background about me. I grew up in Attleboro, and I went to college in Worcester, and I live in Westford with my wife and 3 boys. And I'm really proud to be a town manager. It's really the best job in the world. I'm actually speaking at a boot camp to try to recruit new people to be in local government and managers, and that's going to be my speech, is why it's the best job in the world. And you know, a lot of times people don't know what a town manager does. They say, oh, it's probably like a mayor, or they don't even think that much about it. They just move on with their lives, and that's fine. But a town manager is almost like it's a CEO of a company, and in this company we have a $120 million budget, more or less. And I don't think there's many companies with that size budget that provide the services that we provide. We do everything. We provide law enforcement, safety, senior services, roads, bridges, places to swim, places to eat, making sure everybody's safe. We do everything. We have libraries. I get to be involved, and that's why my job is so fun. I get to be involved with all those things and helping the awesome department heads and all the staff that we have in this organization that run top-notch services for our residents. I get to be involved in that every day. So that's why it's the best job in the world. And Acton is, I'm very lucky to be in Acton. There are 350 other communities that I could work in probably, but I'm really happy and feel very lucky to be here because this is a community that supports itself. Everybody cares about other people here, value services, people value services, and it's a welcoming place, and I'm really proud to be here. So the parts of this program are introduction of myself, a few brief updates, and then questions and answers. Oh, and some special guests. And we'll mix that in too. So I'll go through a couple quick updates. I have actually, every once in a while, a little bit more about town manager. So I report to the select board. The select board are elected officials. Many of you know this, but you all elect 5 select board members to be the chief executive officers for the town. They hire a town manager to implement all the policy directives that the community wants. Every couple of weeks, I send the select board an email with a dozen updates, and I have 13 for you. So, and I think I'll do it geographically because that's kind of how I like to think sometimes. So starting at the apartments at Powder Mill across the street, we have 230 units coming in there. You can actually see it now. It looks really cool. Then we're going to do a sewer extension, or we're doing it right now. That's why all this road traffic has been here. It's going to be here for a while, so thanks for your patience. River Street Park, that's underway, and we got a little bit extra money, so that'll be hopefully open this spring. We have a new food pantry coming to town, the Acton Food Pantry. The town select board and town meeting approved leasing the old building that's next to the train station to Acton Food Pantry. They're renovating it right now. It looks beautiful. And they're going to be finished by Thanksgiving, but they're not going to open until the first of the year. So that's a very exciting new amenity here for Acton residents and area residents. Up next, we have a very high-profile project called the Kelly's Corner Infrastructure Project. Oh, wait, we didn't get there yet. I got to stop at the Prospect Street on the way there. Prospect Street, we finished that last month. It came out really, really nice. I think people are still getting used to it. It's different, and sometimes change is hard, and if you're used to doing something and that's different now, it takes time, so I appreciate your patience, but it's a much safer condition for everybody that uses that intersection. So thanks to the DPW team who got that done, and then we'll keep going to Kelly's Corner. So you've noticed the last few weeks that the paving is down. It's starting to look like something on the side with curbing. The lights are working. And then people are like, wait a minute, why are the lanes so big? And how come I can't understand what these lanes mean? It's all temporary. All the street lines that you see right now are temporary. They just needed to put something down because otherwise there'd be huge swaths of pavement and no direction. I mean, they could have probably done more, but what they did was at least to provide some guidance on where you're supposed to go. And once the project is further along, once all the signage is completed, the curbing is done, and all the things that need to be a complete road, once those are ready, then they'll put the rail lines on, and it'll feel a lot different. It's going to be very tight. It'll be a lot tighter. It's in a safe way. Right now, if you're driving past, don't forget, there's going to be street islands at every approach to the intersection. So right now, it just feels like a ton of pavement. But if you're coming where Roach Brothers is, on that road, there's going to be a 150-foot long street island that's 6 or 8 feet wide in the middle of the road. And the lanes will be around that. And there'll be a similar feature on each approach to the intersection. So it's going to tighten up. It's going to feel like you thought it would. So again, I appreciate your patience. All that work should be done this winter. And then they'll come in the spring when the right time is to do plantings and plant thousands of plants and hundreds of trees, 100 trees, but thousands of plants for sure. There'll also be pedestrian scale streetlights and bike paths and benches we have one bench or a couple benches that were made from, remember the trees that used to be on Mass Ave as you're heading to Charter Road? There was some big, beautiful trees there. One of them, or maybe a couple of them, we cut down, and then we took the wood and made it into a bench to kind of honor the past. So that's kind of cool. So that'll be a part of it. Community Way is renamed Carol Spinney Way. So once the whole thing is done, we'll memorialize that in a way that people will understand better. So that's Kelly's Corner. I bet you I'll have questions about that later. McManus Manor, you can see what that's going to start to look like across from the public safety facility. At the public safety facility, we have expanded female locker rooms. The building was built 25 years ago or so with 6 lockers for women. That was plenty at that time, but now our police force has changed, and so we're going to double the size of the female locker room. We're also going to be putting solar canopies in the back. You've seen them at the Discovery Museum. They're not going to be that big and that many, but we'll have some solar canopies that'll be behind the PSF. And it'll be great because it'll collect sun's energy and it'll provide cover for vehicles. So a win-win. What else do we have? Fire department station pilot program. Did anybody know that we have been doing some work on the fire department, looking at different ways to deploy services? Okay, good, thank you. So since February, we've been trying different ways to provide fire and EMS response. And hopefully you didn't notice, because if you did, that would be a problem. But what we did is, in February, we actually closed 2 of the stations and started running out of just the North Station, the brand new one, and just the South Station. And it worked out really well. We had an ambulance for each side of town, and the crews were better combined in a way that was better for first response. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that well because the South Station has never had more than 3 people in it. So having 5 in there was not really feasible. So then we went back to 3 stations. So we're now currently running out of the West, the South, and the North, with the center station still being closed. And that's going pretty well, I think. It spreads the crew out a little bit down there. And the response times, I think, have been okay. No measurable difference, good or bad. And then this winter, we're actually going to try another scenario where we reopen the center and close west. So once we do all those iterations, we'll settle in on the future. And that'll probably be in the spring or whenever we finish the process. So, and we want public input. So if you've noticed it or if you have thoughts or concerns about that, please reach out. But I think the only impact that I've noticed has been on the staff, the firefighters, because they keep moving around and it's a lot of change for them. But I don't think the public has been impacted in any negative ways. So that's a good thing. The 17 Woodbury Lane. So right behind Town Hall is that yellow building, or it used to be yellow. I think it's going to be yellow again, actually, when we paint it. But we tore down a lot of the old additions, put on a modern addition, and it's going to be a community center. Paid for with federal grants, almost entire, probably 95% federal funding, and then some CPA funding as well. And it should be ready before Thanksgiving. It's a seasonal building, so it's, I don't know how much use it'll get in January and February, but it'll get used the rest of the year. And it'll have a nice outside feature with a patio and a porch where I think people can do presentations or things like that. So it's going to really be turning an eyesore into a real amenity for the community. There'll also be bathrooms. We have a pretty heavily used playground over there. And if the library or the town hall is closed, there's not access to a bathroom. So it's adding another amenity for that group as well. We have a lot going on with the budget process. I think I'm going to wait till the next Travel with John to really dive into that. But just know that we started. We have some challenges like we do every year, and we're working together on it. With DPW, town meeting approved us to take a second look at the design. We had a pretty good design that we brought to town meeting, that we asked town meeting to approve in 2023. We designed it to 40%, and then we got some questions about if it was the right idea. And so we took a step back at town meeting and said, all right, we need money to do a peer review. So we hired a consultant to do a peer review of the designer that we've been working with. And they came in with fresh eyes, and they kind of grilled them a little bit, which I was surprised. They grilled the design team, and they dug in a little bit, and they came up with 5 alternatives, or 4 alternatives, really. And those were presented on earlier this week. They've been published online. I encourage you to check them out. We're also going to be presenting them to the Finance Committee and the Select Board in October. So, and from that, we'll decide what to move forward. I'd be surprised if we move forward with exactly what we had last year, but that is one of the options. But the other options I think are pretty interesting, so I look forward to any input that you all have. And finally, oh wait, I have some breaking news. We have Aldi, a famous grocery store, is confirmed. They will be coming here at the old Stop and Shop down the street. They're going to start construction this winter and open up in the spring probably. So that's exciting. Magenta Dance moved from the Exchange Hall down to the church on Arlington Street, so that's exciting for them. Restaurant Week is October 19th. We had Hollywood in Acton this month. There was a whole scene over on Route 2 and Weatherby where they were filming a movie. It was pretty cool. I stopped by and checked it out, and they were using drones and all kinds of cool technology. And so Acton will be on the silver screen sometime next year, depending on how Hollywood does their thing. But so that was exciting. Pretty famous actor was there too, as far as I know, and it's going to be a good movie. So check that out. It's called Cheesesteak. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. That's the working title. The producers told me. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are launching, and this is the other breaking news, we're launching an Acton Public Service Academy. You all know everything about local government, but there's a lot of people in this community that don't, and this is an opportunity for them to learn. The police department has been doing this for several years, where they do a police department kind of 101 for 6 weeks. We're going to do local government 101 for 8 weeks, I think, leading up to town meeting. So if you know people that want to learn more about local government, or if you want a refresher, you can check that out. We're going to launch that this winter. I wanted to talk about tax exemptions. We're going to be having our tax classification hearing later this month, and people always ask about our taxes. And one thing that I'm proud of, and we try to report out it anytime we can, is that we provide more tax exemptions than any community around us. This crumpled up chart is the proof. In 2025, we provided over $550,000 in exemptions, which is more than any of the communities that surround us, in some cases 3 times as much. There is one community that provides more relief programs, which is Newton, but 2/3 of those are actually deferrals. In Acton, for some reason, we don't do any deferrals. We have a member of the Board of Assessors here, but we have a special guest, our principal assessor, CJ Carroll, who maybe can help us understand a little more about that. CJ.
All right, thanks, John. I'm CJ Carroll. I've been the principal assessor here in Acton for about 2.5 years. Looking around in those 2.5 years, I see some familiar faces here, which is awesome. Hopefully some new faces as well, so we can share a little bit about exemption information, and then also maybe answer some questions that you guys have. Glad John brought me in, because it is really good. It's a good statistic to see, and it's something that I know I'm proud of for for my staff and how they've been able to help people, as well as the Board of Assessors. I think that they're really integral parts of this process and being able to, one, get the word out, come here and speak to people and let people know these programs exist, but then also because, you have, many of you know Marty. She'll sit down with people, she'll go to your house, she'll, whatever it takes to help somebody out and get them the information they need, get the paperwork filled out, she's going to do it. And because of that, we've been able to provide over double the exemptions, close to all the communities surrounding us, if you're talking strictly exemptions. Anyone have any questions on that, on how they work, on what the programs are? John mentioned deferrals versus exemptions. Anything like that? No? I can give a quick review as well. So, a review? Yeah, of course. So I do have some packets over here. Feel free to grab one. It'll outline all the programs for you. I don't have the time today to outline all the programs for you, but there's some really great stuff. Many of them, I would say the majority of them, of the granted exemptions, are for seniors, majority lower income seniors. And then the one that I wanted to highlight today is this. It's called the circuit breaker exemption. Some of you may be familiar with or even receive the Massachusetts income tax circuit breaker relief. So essentially you file with your state income tax and say, I meet this income requirement, this asset requirement, any of the other requirements that they have. And if you receive that form, if you fill out the CB1 form and you receive approval, you will receive an income tax break from the state. But what you can also do then is bring it to us that following year. And assuming you meet the residency requirements, I believe that's the only additional requirement that the town has, but read the packet to make sure. As long as you've lived here for a while, then the town will provide relief as well. The purpose of it is to make sure that your taxes do not exceed 10% of your income. That's the foundation of why this exists. It is capped at 50% of your taxes, but that is a substantial amount still. And what we did this year is we restructured the form a little bit because it does take a little more homework than your average exemption, but it also provides, on average, well over $2,000 per person who qualifies. So there's a checklist. Anyone who wants one, I have a few copies thanks to Sharon. She printed some out for me of exactly what you need to do the year before you receive this. So income tax season, it's not coming up close, but maybe if you're prepared, it's coming up close for you. Bring this to your CPA, bring it here to the COA in February. They're going to have tax experts who can help you with this, but this outlines exactly what you need to do if you're interested in an exemption like this. So, any questions on any of that or any of the other programs? Yep. So the question was, is it based on state income or federal income? It's your state income taxes, so it's a Massachusetts program. And then the requirements of how much you're allowed to make to be on the program and all that are both on mass.gov, but then they're also outlined a little bit in our packet as well. Anything else? Did I forget anything?
No, nice work.
All right.
Nice work, CJ. CJ's worked here for 3 years now? 2.5. 2.5? He's doing a great job. Thanks for all your work. And we have some packets up here you can grab on your way out or whenever you'd like. We also have a couple other things that we wanted to talk about. You heard from Detective Gower earlier. We also have Detective John Stackhouse here from the police department and his companion, Zane. I don't think he's prepared to speak today, although he likes the mic if we give it to him. But I do have our Director of Human Services here, Director of Health and Human Services, Penny Fonioli, and she's going to give a brief update on some things going on in her world, or our world, that she helps work on.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. There's a lot that we could talk about. It's the fall. We're getting ready for the winter season. I want you to be safe and think about your, spreading viruses, all that. So I want to give that message. That's my primary job, public health. Make sure that you're all healthy and safe. So pay attention to how you're feeling and isolate, stay away from others and stuff like that. Please prevent the spread. Thank you for that. And your CVS And your Walgreens and all your pharmacies are giving out COVID shots. They're giving out flu shots. So take a look at that. Think about how it makes sense in your timing of how you take the shot for the season. I will wait till the late of October to get my flu shot, things like that. So you want to kind of pay attention to that. Susan Sama is our public health nurse. She is phenomenal, okay? She's very smart. She knows all the stuff, and she's eager to help you. So reach out to her if you have any questions, any detailed questions about that. I would definitely reach out to her. She's doing a lot of presentations. You'll start to see all kinds of presentations coming from our public health department here and sometimes in other locations throughout the town. So keep an eye out for that. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that we are doing a large community health needs assessment, right? And what that means is we want to find out how easy is it for you to get health care? What kinds of issues might you be seeing for yourself or for your loved ones around their behavioral health, whether it be substance use, mental health issues? Because if we know what your issues are, we need to take a step back and understand the system that's there to care for you. And it's my job to make sure that the system works for you, right? You have a doctor who takes care of your care, but I got to make sure the system's working for you. So we need to hear from you. And we also need to hear from people who we don't hear from. So if you have friends and neighbors that do not come to the senior center, who do not engage in town government, tell them that we want to hear from them. They are very valuable. Their experience here is as important, right? And we want to know what's going on with them too. It's awesome to be able to talk to you all frequently. I am very lucky to be able to do that, but I want to hear from more people too. So we're looking for that. We're also looking to understand, I'm almost done. We're almost looking to understand is that, so Wanjiko is not here today, but I'm in a partnership working with her on this, because the other thing is, who else is out? Who are these people who are out there who maybe don't come to town meeting, who maybe need to learn about the Civic Academy, right? We want to engage everybody to be a part of this whole community. So the two of us are working on that. You might see surveys out there. You might be asked, you might be interested and want to tell us details. I want to sit and talk to you. So come find me if I'm here, or let the front desk know. Rosie is always got my number on a hot dial, so she can get a hold of me. But I'm really looking forward to learning more about you, about this town, and figuring out how we're going to fix it. You understand? We're going to fix this thing. All right, thank you. Yeah.
Nice work, Penny. We're going to hear from she's not
QR code, right?
QR code.
QR code here. You can scan this survey. It'll give us a little bit of information.
Everybody know how to use a QR code?
I have printed copies.
I'm just asking. That was a question. You usually ask me questions. I'm asking you a question. Do you want me to show you? So it's a strange thing. All you do is here's one right here. If you take your phone, you put your camera on. You just put your camera up to the squiggly lines, and then a link will come up, and it'll take you right to a website. People are using that to try to share information instead of making huge flyers. They just put a big thing on the wall. So it's an interesting new technology available. What else do you have for us, Detective Stackhouse?
Breaking news. No, it's actually breaking news, and it's not even like anywhere yet. Tuesday, October 1st is National Coffee with a Cop. So if you want a free coffee and want to hang out with the cops, we're more than likely pay attention to Facebook. And if you don't have Facebook, you're going to have to get it, because that's the only way we're going to get it out. We're just waiting on confirmation. It's probably more than likely going to be on the Dunkin' Donuts over on Great Road next to the Jeep dealership, if everybody knows where that is, just because it's a little bit bigger of an area. But wherever it will be, we will post it and online and social media for you guys if you want to come out. Hopefully we'll have some new officers there that we have that you haven't met, some new faces. So come by, enjoy a cup of coffee and a conversation. Last night, I was over in Westford in the Neshoba Valley ski area. We had a Make-A-Wish Foundation for a little girl named Olivia. She's 6 years old, who's suffering from leukemia. We had police officers from as far as Gloucester, Stoneham, Watertown, Acton, Maynard, Littleton, Westford, obviously. We had a large group of officers there, and they did a trunk or treat for her and her friends and family members for her to wish her off to go to Disney World. She's getting a nice trip to Disney World based on the Make-A-Wish Foundation that covers Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So that was really cool. Got to do that. Lots of dogs. So Zane got to hang out with a lot of his friends too. What else? Friday, October 24th, we will be hosting a trunk or treat in collaboration with a national movement called Faith in Blue. This is probably our 4th year doing it with St. Elizabeth of Hungary, because they got a big giant parking lot there. We bought a bunch of candy for that, so that's usually a really good, every year is becoming more and more better of a turnout for our youth. And then whatever candy we have left over, I'll be distributing it to the cruisers for hopefully not themselves on Halloween, and they'll hand them out in the neighborhoods, because you'll see we'll have officers obviously in the neighborhoods keeping everybody safe. Excuse me, that night as well. I think that's it. Appreciate it. Yes, John.
You mentioned the date for Coffee with a Cop. What time frame is that going to be?
Good question. Usually I do it 8 to 10, just to kind of get that. But I want to work with them. So if they want to do 9 to 11, it'll be on social media once. Well, yeah, that'd be a good idea. We could do that on social media. Yeah. We do have a QR code on our EV Mustang, though. That was our former chief thought of that, just because it was a new thing, and it was an easy way for people to get information on. So that's good. Any questions for me or Leo or Zane? He's getting tested next week, so hopefully, say a prayer, he passes his public access test. So
Good luck, Zane.
good for another year, hopefully, right? Any other questions about anything with the police department? All right, thank you.
Nice work. Thank you. All right, so now we'll get to the fun part of the program where we hear from you. So do anyone have any questions or comments or complaints that I can do my best to respond to? Yes.
I was just curious about what's going on next on the corner of 27 and School Street. It's clearly run by that old garage.
So the question is what's happening at the corner of 27 and School Street, which is across from the Exchange Hall. That was permitted a couple of years ago for, I think it's an 8-unit row house, thoughtfully designed in collaboration with the Historic District Commission. I believe that is what that is. I think they started the process. So it'll be, I think, 8 units with parking behind. It's a pretty cool concept. And actually, more breaking news, I guess, but maybe that's being overused, but we sold, the town, with your permission, sold the property on either side of that. So where you see the construction, where you see the land clearing right now, the parking lot to the left of that is municipal, and then the old firehouse to the right of that is municipal. We sold that to a developer who's going to turn that into mixed-use housing and commercial. And he's going to have to figure out how to do it with the one in between, which is a challenge. But so that's pretty interesting. That South Acton is going to be looking a little different in that area soon.
And about the church, wasn't that church that closed sold to the developer?
So the South Acton church that's on the right at the end of the street is no longer there. I don't know exactly what's happening with that. I don't believe it's going to be a church, though. Yes, anything else out there? Yes.
A couple things. First of all, thank you for coming here. Appreciate it.
Sure, happy to be here.
I have a complaint and a question. Complaint is the Prospect Street intersection. There's no question it's safe. Amen. But why do they make both the egress on 27 and off so skinny? You can't fit 2 cars in the field. And I can see that. I go through there a lot, and it causes a lot of backups. They could have made the middle lane take 2 feet or 3 feet and made them wider, and much easier to use. And the last question is that there's some building going on at the DPW area.
Yeah.
I forget the name. But
Forest.
thank you. And there's some. What's happening?
Thank you. So I'll address your complaint first. You can blame the traffic engineers and the designers because we're all doing things we can to try to make roads safer. And when you do that, a lot of times what they tell you to do is to squeeze the lanes because it forces you to drive slower and traffic calming. So that's my guess. That's my guess of why it's skinny. And I think it just forces people to go slower than they want to, which in my experience isn't a bad thing. The other question was about what's happening. That's the fuel depot. So it's an interesting part of the DPW project that doesn't really get discussed. So I'm glad you brought it up. 5 years ago, or so when we started really working on designing a DPW building, before we had the full amount of money for the design, we knew that having the fuel depot right in the middle of the site where it is now, currently, is going to be a huge impediment to anything we want to do on the site. And it's always been kind of right in the middle of all the circulation. So we knew that once we were able to move forward with a new building, having the fuel depot right in the middle of it is going to be a problem. We also knew that we couldn't just go offline, and so the town meeting approved funding to build a new fuel depot where you see right now, and it's getting pretty close, but there's actually going to be a huge canopy over it, like you see at gas stations. And then we'll do some nice landscaping around it so it won't be as visible as it is now from the street. And that is where all of our municipal vehicles, police, fire, DPW, the school districts, the school district uses that as well for its 100 or 40 or so buses. CASE Collaborative, which is a regional special education transportation thing, they have 100 vans that fill up there. And so it's pretty heavily used. And so all that traffic coming out of the DPW yard, it hasn't been great. So now it's going to be out here on the end of the road. It's going to be really much better for DPW operations. And it'll help us set the table for what it looks like in the future. The school district and CASE are both contributing to that capital project. So that was helpful that they did that. And thank you for asking the question. Yes. Anything else over here? Oh. Sure.
First of all, I'd like to compliment the road department. This past winter and early spring, they did a lot for cleaning up along the side of the roads where the weeds are growing, sometimes quite rapidly, 3 and 4 feet high. And they've really trimmed it down a lot. And they've also been paying attention to the entrance to the rail trail up in North Acton, because before vegetation would kind of block your view of who was coming to the intersection. So, and also if you see a place that the weeds were growing, there was a place on Main Street going to my house, there were weeds this high growing between the curb and the sidewalk. And I called and I told them about it, and the next day they were there and they took care of it. So they're very responsive to you, which I think is really good. My concern is I've been looking at the Kelly's Corner, and it looks like there's a lot of places where there's spaces like this wide between the street and the sidewalk, and I don't know what they're going to put in it, but in other places where you have this little piece, you put grass in, but it soon just becomes a weed bed. I don't know if there's something different they could put in that would be easier to take care of, like artificial grass or some kind of small stone or something that would be easier to take care of and less weeds growing that they'd have to take care of. But I think that's something that should be considered.
Well, thank you very much for complimenting the DPW people. That's Ryan Hunt. He's our tree warden. He oversees the crews that do that work. Guys like Billy Martinez and Jeff Rico are out there doing that work that you just mentioned. So I appreciate you complimenting their hard work and their responsiveness. And you bring up a really important question, because we've been having meetings. So the Kelly's Corner project is a state project, and the state is overseeing the contractor. And then once the contractor completes the work, the contractor has to keep an eye on it for a year, and then the town is in charge of the maintenance of it. Well, the town's in charge of the maintenance of the streets and sidewalks right away, but I'm talking about the vegetation, the trees and the plantings. The landscaping plan for this project, they said that we've never seen as much plants as you guys want us to plant in this project. And I said, well, it was 10 years of design and community input, and we have a lot of plants that we're going to have to maintain. There's about 110 trees, I think. They need to be watered a lot, and the plants all need to be watered a lot. So it is going to be a maintenance add. It'll be an add to our maintenance needs, certainly. But it's an investment that this community, we got about a $20 million investment from the state, and it's an investment that the community is going to take on to maintain it, because it's going to transform. It's going to transform that area, certainly. So there is a mix of hardscape, which is decorative stone, and just regular plants. And I live in Westford, and there's an island on the 110 and Boston Road that's maintained. And I saw a guy out there pulling weeds the other day. It's a lot of work. And so I think our Director of Public Works, Corey York, developed a program that the Select Board approved, which is an Adopt Street Island program. So maybe we'll have an opportunity to partner with local businesses to help contribute to that cost and give them a little visibility. But it is going to be a big project, and I actually have an ask for you, and you'll have plenty of time to prepare for it. But this spring, when the state's contractor puts all those 1,000+ plants in the ground and plants all those trees, they're responsible for watering it every week. If you ever see that they're not watering it, and I'll keep my eye on it too, and we'll have people keeping their eyes on it. But if you ever see that they're not watering things, let me know, and we'll get them out there right away, because they own all the watering for the first year. And most contractors are going to want to get out of town and not come back. So we're going to have to really force them to do it. So I need your eyes out there on the watering while you're enjoying the beautiful new landscape. But thank you for the question. Yes?
Is anything ever going to happen to the old McDonald's building that's been empty for about 20 years? It's an eyesore.
The question about the McDonald's building, yeah, it looks a lot better now. Now that they cleaned up the front of it and there's a beautiful sidewalk going in front of it. I've said at this program before that I'm very confident that once this infrastructure project is completed, that there'll be restaurants banging down the doors to try to get in there. It's been an eyesore, and it's been a lot of things. And then for the last 2.5 years, I don't think it's been hard to want to say I want to move in there. But once this is done, I think we'll have something nice, something good. I hope it's going to happen. I'm sure of it. Yes.
I have a comment and question. So yesterday, the active leadership group met, and I don't want to attend the meeting. I can peruse the ALG spreadsheet. And one of the line items on that spreadsheet is, of course, the Minuteman objective assessment and debt exclusion. The size of that debt exclusion from Minuteman, is comparable to the debt exclusion from the town side. It's a significant budget item. But from a governmental operation perspective, what we do is, the moderator appoints our representative to the Minuteman School Committee, and yet the only time traditionally we've seen the Minuteman School Committee is at town meeting. Given the size of that line item, I would hope that the town, and the schools would consider having both our representative and the Minuteman superintendent to a board of selectmen meeting and to a school committee meeting. So that's my comment. So my question, and please, because not everybody follows the active leadership group, feel free to say a little bit about the group. But at a really high level, looking back on last year, there were some issues coming to consensus. And as we're looking at our federal government shutdown this month, everybody understands this is a terrible thing. And so I'm wondering, as you're looking at this year, what you're hoping to see happen in terms of the ALG, in terms of coming to a better consensus than sort of last year's struggle, and what that might translate into at town meeting.
Okay, first of all, I don't appreciate the comparison to the federal government, because the local government is such an effective and well-functioning, and not just in Acton. Local governments are working for people. They're all the people that live in the community show up to the meetings and make things happen. If 10 people want to change a bylaw in this town, they can bring a sheet to the town clerk and say, I want to change a bylaw. And then people will vote on it a year later. Things work really well with local government. And I think the ALG process, which you referred to, is the Acting Leadership Group. For those of you that don't know, that's 2 members of the Finance Committee, 2 members of the School Committee, 2 members of the Select Board, and some staff. And they get together throughout the budget season to discuss the revenues that are available or not available in most cases, and then the expenses that are in the proposed budgets. And then we work together as a team to try to reach a consensus on where we're going to end up and how we're going to go to town meeting on the same page, proposing the budgets across the different entities that represent a balanced budget. It's a process that's been in place for 37 or 8 years. It's a professional facilitator actually runs the meeting and helps us. Sometimes those boards, entities don't always speak the same language, and so the facilitator helps us communicate in a way that's effective. Last year, we had a successful ALG process. It didn't feel like it, but we did. We went to town meeting with a balanced budget that we all agreed on. The only point of disagreement was what people thought the forecasts for the future years would be, which I think, I regret that happened, but in the end, it was a successful process. And I expect the same thing to happen this year, because the people that are involved in it care about the town and will make decisions and collaborate to find ways to get it done. It's going to be hard. It always is. I've been the town manager for 8 years. This is my 8th year. And every year I say, oh, the budget's going to be really hard this year. I'm not kidding. Every single year I say that. And it always is, but it's always hard for a different reason. Sometimes it's a pandemic, sometimes it's a recession, sometimes it's health insurance. That's what it is this time. And it's always something, but we always work together to find a way to figure it out, and I'm confident that that'll happen again. Thanks.
I'm just curious, I see the senior.
Wait, no repeats. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
The senior housing moving around, we were going to the other day.
Yeah, that's McManus Manor. That's going to be 41 units. It's going to look really nice. I don't know when they're going to be ready, but I believe in the spring. And next to that will be a dog park. So if you have a dog, or if you like dogs, you can go to the dog park. And in between, there's a to-be-designed and to-be-determined piece of municipal property that we're going to turn into a nice amenity. We just don't know what it looks like yet. Any questions or complaints over here? Oh, yes.
I have a question that I bring up almost every time.
Oh, hold on. Let me try to guess.
Retirees insurance.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. I really don't. I'm going to a summit on Tuesday with all the leaders across the state who are going to try to explain to us what's broken about the healthcare system. I don't know what to say, honestly. Like we had a meeting. I have a meeting with our insurer next week. Our retirees were on Blue Cross for a long time. A couple of years ago, we switched to Aetna to save money. It saved money for a year, and then all the health insurance for active and retirees just skyrocketed. And we got the actives into Maya, which controlled costs a little bit, although we still had a double-digit increase last year, which didn't feel like we were saving money. We weren't. And we're projecting another double-digit increase this year. Retirees, I don't even want to say out loud what they're projecting for an increase. It's unbelievable. I don't understand it.
Is there a chance that it's going to be switched back to Blue Cross?
Yes, we're going to look at all the options that are available because it's.
I mean, we've been told that.
Yeah. So last time we didn't do it because the difference, the Maya wouldn't let us, and because they said something about time of year, rate not being sufficient, all kinds of reasons. We're meeting with them on the 8th of October, and we're going to push it and say, it seems like it's time. Like, Aetna's rates are skyrocketing. But I think the problem is, so are the other ones. But I think at least if we can get into the other program and stabilize it, we'll be better off in the long run. But it's going to be hard, and I apologize if you're one of the retirees or you know one of the retirees, because it's going to be more expensive next year, no matter what we do. So thank you for the question.
Can I make a small announcement?
We have an announcement from Leo Fochman. Oh, wait, hold on, what is it?
The Senior Read Program.
Okay, that sounds okay, yeah.
Just want to let people know here, through the COA board, they got a program working with the elementary schools in the area. You can sign up at the reception, and you'll go like once a month to a school close to where you live. You get to read to these young kids. I did 2nd and 3rd grade last year. I'll tell you, it's really a lot of fun. I mean, the kids are empathetic, they have great questions, so please consider it. Thank you.
Thank you for that announcement. Remember the Acton 250th committee did a lot of really cool programming over the last year. It's not over. They have more programming coming up. There's actually an event on the 30th where Robert Allison will, and we've heard from him several times, he's great. He's going to come back and talk about something else related to that period, and I encourage you to check it out. ActonTV, will you be covering it? So if you can't make it, you can also watch it afterwards. Yes, another question?
Yeah, more of a comment. I'd like to compliment the IT department for taking care of the system going down for I guess it was almost a week, and none of the members of town boards or commissions could get their email. They were on it. They reacted with courtesy and promptness and thoroughness, and damn, they did a good job.
Greg, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we had, and in terms of time of year for a major meltdown of your email system, the middle of August was a pretty good time for it to happen. I mean, if it happened this week, it would have been a lot worse. But anyways, we have a new director of IT, Carl Volker. He's doing a great job, and the team that's already there, Brian and Justin, they're outstanding. And the IT is the backbone to everything that we do. And if our emails don't work, then we can't do much, right? And all the systems that we have maintained, they do a nice job doing it. And so thank you for mentioning that, Greg. Yes?
So I do want to make it clear that I am very thrilled to live in Acton, and I do appreciate the local government service, and that any comments that I make in that regard are really just in the sense of however good we're doing, there's some opportunity to do better. I think let's come back to the national stage, this issue around healthcare. The federal government pulls, hundreds of billions of dollars out of healthcare, regardless of where they live. It's going to impact everything else. And that's what's going on. So anybody who hates these rates, part of that is to make sure people are lobbying the federal government, saying, you need to spend more money on healthcare. There's plenty of other issues in healthcare, but right now, that's the big issue.
Yeah. So John was just talking about how the federal government, the changes that happen at the federal government impact local health insurance programs. I think there's something with retiree medical plans where the deductible used to be higher, and then a couple of years ago it became lower. And I think that is one of the things that's led to the increase in premiums. But I can give a more detailed explanation after I go to that forum next week. Any other? Yes?
What do you hear about the Concord Rotary?
Concord Rotary, yeah. So our Economic Development Director, Patricia Costa, attended a forum that they had on that the other day. Major road work like that takes a decade. It's not something that they can do overnight. But it seems like they're committed to working on it. And I think the prison closing was really a good jolt to the whole thing, because now there's more than one reason to do it. I don't know. I don't have a timeline. I'm really focused on our side of the border. We do have some state projects that we're trying to push them to work on in Acton. The Piper Road intersection is one of them. They've come up with a design for that. They call it a Michigan left, I think, or they have some kind of strange. Yeah. So instead of right now, if you're coming from Piper Road from South Acton, and you want to go left, you just kind of wait for the light, fight your way through. Hopefully everybody stops, and you take a left. This new design is you would come on a Piper Road, take a right, and then about 100 yards or some period up the way, there'd be a left turn lane where you can go in and wait and then hook around and go that way. So it eliminates that contact point where there's a lot of accidents. It's a dangerous intersection. I was here at the open house at the senior center last week, or earlier this week, and I was talking to folks about people don't stop at those lights on Route 2. At the end of the day, they want to get home from work, and they don't think red lights matter. It's unbelievable. And that happens in other places too. It's not just there. So we're working on it. We've had the state police out there, our local police. I know, actually after the last meeting, I know Leo Gower, Detective Gower, helped do a little sting out there, and we're going to keep on it. And people just need to follow the rules. Hopefully, if you follow the rules, the people behind you have to. So that's a good thing that you can all do to help. Anything else? Are we at time? Feeling like we're at time. Any questions over here? No? Well, I appreciate you coming back to the program, and I look forward to seeing you. I think we're 10, I think it's October 15th next week, I mean next month, or whatever that Friday is, in the early teens. October 17th. So come back October 17th. I'll have an update on the budget and a dozen other things for you. Nice to see you all.